In a surprising turn of events, ESPN has captured attention once more, this time for parting ways with one of its prominent figures. The catalyst for this upheaval was Elle Duncan's unyielding criticism of Caitlin Clark, an emerging WNBA sensation whose performances have been nothing short of exceptional. Instead of celebrating Clark's remarkable achievements, Duncan chose to take a different approach, one that ultimately contributed to her downfall at ESPN.
Ever gonna win another championship? Or, Nafisa Collier's better than Maya Moore. Like, instead of those kinds of hot takes, the hot takes solely and explicitly surround all of these black women versus Caitlin Clark.
Monty Jones and Elle Duncan have teamed up to do what seemingly every person of color, a.k.a. every African American in the WNBA, around the WNBA, and in media are doing. They're coming at the 22-year-old white straight girl, Caitlin Clark. Because, see, here's the deal. Because Caitlin Clark can throw a ball into a basket deeper and better than anybody in the history of women's basketball. Because Caitlin Clark plays with...
Before diving into the details, let's take a closer look at how Duncan's behavior led to her dismissal from ESPN. It comes as little surprise that she faced significant backlash. Accusations without solid evidence are rarely well received by the public. It was only a matter of time before ESPN had to take action and cut ties with her. Today, we'll explore the heart of the controversy, examining why ESPN made such a bold decision and how Elle Duncan's actions shifted from mere criticism to what many have described as a witch hunt against Caitlin Clark. However, there's more to this story than initially appears, so stay with us as we uncover all the key details. Let's also hear from Danik, who shared his thoughts on Duncan's behavior and the perceived unfairness of her actions.
Been around these type of women. She's never been around, black women or women from different parts of the country. Like, she's sort of existed in this bubble.
How arrogant is this? Now, seriously, how arrogant is this? Honest to God, this is as arrogant as you can possibly be. I mean, I hear all the time, don't judge me. Don't judge me by the color of the skin. Don't judge me. Really? Okay. Well, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're sitting there and judging me. You're judging a woman you have no idea.
He highlights the contradictions in Duncan's approach. While criticism is one thing, her strategy crossed a line and veered into personal attacks. It's a tough reality to face, but the truth is, Duncan's comments struck a chord, though not in the way she intended. Instead of rallying support, she was met with backlash from fans, analysts, and even fellow commentators, all of whom questioned why she chose to focus on Clark's supposed privilege rather than her undeniable talent on the court. Now, let's delve deeper into what Dakik had to say about Duncan's behavior and the underlying jealousy he observed among ESPN's commentators.
Everybody that I know still know what ESPN tells me. Oh, it's so ridiculous, these women. It's so ridiculous. There's a green room right next to where the makeup is. It's loud, it's stupid, it's asinine, it's absurd. And that's Elle Duncan and her little cast of cronies. And all the little girls at ESPN, look, all they are is trying to make themselves, well, not better, more popular. And I don't care what they do. Elle Duncan has lived in that bubble forever. Elle Duncan is full.
His comments were not only hurtful but also reflected what many spectators believed. While criticism can be valid, it loses its credibility when it seems fueled by envy. Caitlin Clark's arrival in the WNBA has been nothing short of groundbreaking. Her stats speak volumes as she leads the league in points per game and has helped boost women's basketball viewership by nearly 40% since her debut, attracting fans from across the country. Yet, despite these remarkable achievements, Duncan chose to focus on belittling Clark's success. Let's revisit a moment that many felt crossed a line in Duncan's relentless criticism.
Second that you show love to anybody not named Caitlin Clark, you are part of, some constituency that's trying to keep her contributions at a minimum, and you're racist, and we get a lot of that. It's no wonder that the W coverage is all black women, because you're all in it together to try to keep her down. It's just, you're kind of damned if you do and you.
When your arguments are driven more by envy than by facts, it's hard to win over an audience. The truth is, Caitlin Clark's story is far from one of privilege. She has encountered significant challenges both on and off the court, competing against athletes from all walks of life. Many perceive Duncan's narrative as a direct attempt to diminish Clark's accomplishments, especially since Duncan couldn't pinpoint any legitimate flaws in her performance. Despite this, Duncan continued her relentless criticism. Meanwhile, Clark was dominating the court and silencing her critics. She was making headlines for all the right reasons, proving her naysayers wrong with every game.
Literally carried the sport on her back all summer long. She talks that yang. That's what resonates with Caitlin Clark. It isn't her being white. It isn't her being straight. Her game resonates with people in basketball and across the country because she's got that edge. She plays with a flair. I heard her drop 3 F-bombs in one game sitting right there courtside. Her teammates had to hold her back. She's yelling at the coach. That's what Magic, Bird, Isaiah, Jordan, you name it, that's what they do. Clark resonates, but that clicking sound you hear is television's being turned off. Ain't nobody watching this stuff now. Ain't nobody turning the set on and saying, I gotta watch.
As we continue, it's important to note that Duncan's remarks weren't solely aimed at Clark. She also took aim at Clark's fan base. Analysts like Dandy didn't hold back, pointing out the glaring double standards at play. He argued that Duncan's attacks were rooted in something deeper, resentment, rather than legitimate criticism. This resentment, he suggested, was fueled more by Clark's rapid rise to fame than by any actual flaws in her game. The underlying issue seemed to be jealousy over her success, rather than any real concerns about her performance.
It's been amazing for the game, for the sport, of her own volition, worked really hard in Caitlin Clark. But to have this group of people come in and immediately invalidate the contributions of all of these women before her simply because they don't know, that's what's been frustrating, So yes, people are going to talk about it more, but oh my God, please just educate yourself so that you can have bad takes that involve basketball and not bad takes that send racism and misogyny into the timelines.
Fans strongly dislike being pigeonholed or labeled, and this only served to amplify the tension. Amidst all the drama, a fierce, uncontrollable energy surged within her supporters. In stark contrast to her detractors, whose attacks only seemed to intensify, Clark's fans grew more passionate and vocal in their defense. The relentless criticism only fueled a fiery determination in her camp, further igniting the divide.
Caitlin Clark is nice. She doesn't wear booty shorts. She doesn't shake her ass. She has a boyfriend, seems very humble. I mean to tell you, I saw yesterday Angel Reese is wearing shorts that are up her ass and shaking her ass at something, and good for her.
Fans' support for Clark is understandable, especially since, at times, letting your talents do the talking is the most powerful strategy. However, the drama didn't stop there. Let's turn to Dan Daki once more, as he shines a light on the arrogance of certain ESPN commentators. It's no surprise that fans rally behind her. Clark's skills were undeniable, and some commentators' conceit only fueled the frustration. Daki doesn't hold back in calling out the self-righteous attitudes of those at ESPN who seemed more focused on undermining her than acknowledging her achievements.
I told you this about people at ESPN. People at ESPN come there and they're all excited. They're all excited and they're all happy to be at the worldwide leader. It's a pinnacle for some people. And then when you get there, and look, somebody likes you, you're a woman of color, so Dave Roberts, who's a man of color, is going to promote you. It's automatic. When you have liberal views, it's automatic. So through no performance, it's not like anybody tunes in to see what Elle Duncan is going to say, but you become very arrogant. You become very, very...
While Clark kept her focus on the game, the fallout at ESPN was just beginning. Duncan's departure marks a significant shift for the network's future, as her scathing remarks cut through the narrative, revealing the hypocrisy that many fans have been sensing all along. In contrast, Caitlin Clark's humility and commitment to her craft have garnered her a loyal following, demonstrating that she's not only a star on the court, but also a class act off of it. It's no surprise that so many have rallied behind her during this controversy, seeing her as a refreshing presence in a sport that could truly use more positive energy. To wrap things up, let's take a more comprehensive look at the broader picture and what this means for the future of sports media and the WNBA.
Aiming to play basketball. All of a sudden, the black women of the WNBA decided to knock her on her ass from behind. All of a sudden, the black women, Angel Reese and her teammates, decided to cheer for them. All of a sudden, other black women decided to tackle her at half court. All of a sudden, other black women decided, like Asia Wilson, to be idiots when talking about her, jealous when they're talking about her. Caitlin Clark and her fans didn't start anything. Caitlin Clark just came into the league and a bunch of fans rooted for her. But all of a sudden, Kennedy Carter's knocking her on her ass from behind. What do you think people are going to talk about?